they say all men are created equal.
Shot! Master!
I'll pull out the Glock.
Full of suffering, succotash, son.
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing Beach Break. I just wanted to say hello to any new subscribers. I noticed we had a spike recently, so that's pretty cool that people came over and decided to check us out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of the pressure. I can't lie, I'll be candid, because I am here all by my lonesome, and it kind of tends to be a bit chaotic when it's just me. Because my co-host Lucy, she's away, she's in Margate, commentating at Spinebuster, and our girl is fully booked and busy at the moment. This one does coincide, the show coincides with the podcast filming, but even on the weekend, you know, when we don't typically film, the girl is booked and busy, which is what we like to see. So yeah, it's just me holding down the fort today. So yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. And I also wanted to say, if anyone has any constructive criticism, new or old subscribers, the day ones, the day nows, whatever, we love to hear it. Any feedback is great, because we always want to keep pushing the podcast and making it better and better and improving on itself. And obviously, as much as I love rambling in my bedroom to myself, you know, we're filming it for a reason, for it to go out there for people to listen to. So try to keep it make it somewhat listenable. So yeah, any feedback at all, anything you like, anything you don't like, anything you want to see more of would be cool. I know we haven't done a themed video this month, but we typically do a themed episode every month. Sometimes it's like we ranked the AEW roster, I believe that was the last one. Sometimes we do like conversational things and debates, like we talked about the mid card. We talked about, what else we did? We reviewed the Vince McMahon documentary. We do all sorts. So yeah, any wider ideas, we'd love to sort of do more of those. It's just getting the times. I'm sure everyone here can appreciate, you know, working, doing stuff, slotting in the wrestling as well. It's fun. It's fun as hell, but it's a lot. And I also just want to say, I'm really just feeling really positive about wrestling at the minute. Like, AEW at the minute, it's been really, really enjoyable, really easy to watch. It doesn't hurt that we're going to Forbidden Door in August. You know, you're just so excited because everything, you're like, ooh, will we get to see this live? Will we get to see that live? You know, a bit of fantasy booking going on. And just all the events. I mean, we've got All In before that. We've had Beach Break. We've got a Double or Nothing. There's just so much going on at the minute, and I think it doesn't hurt that the weather's been quite sunny in England at the minute, so that always lifts the spirits. But there's just something about it, like watching wrestling on like a late summer night, something very nostalgic for me about it, and something that just I don't know, it just scratches my brain. It gives me like a bit of serotonin. I really like it. So yeah, it's just good vibes. And I mean, we're, like I said, with AEW really in the peak of the season. You know, we're going up on the exposition now to the main event of the always made me laugh in WWE, like that line of it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. but yeah, I suppose it is, right. So yeah, that's kind of my scattered mindset right now at the moment. And speaking of summer, Beach Break, let's dive on into it. So the opening match was the tag match of Can They Coexist Together? Ospreay with Hangman against Takeshita and Josh Alexander. I mean, the whole card was stacked, but there's just something about like opening with like Ospreay's music and the crowd being extremely hyped. Great crowd, looked packed, and yeah, great crowd presence. Yeah, and there was lots of tensions, and I enjoyed this. I mean, last week with Lucy talking about it, and she's like, it's a bit overdone, and she's cracking me up a bit about it, because like it is very overdone of, can these two guys coexist? And obviously it's just a wrinkle to get to the actual match, so you're just like, oh god, yeah, can they coexist? And it's very predictable, but I still think they did this in a very enjoyable way and managed to get the tensions to absolute boiling point, which they've been very good at doing recently with the Jamie Hayter stuff and Monet. A lot of things in quick succession. They're able to get the tension up high and build the story up quite fast, which in the past they weren't that great at. They would just kind of throw matches together and that would be the selling point, which is like absolutely great. I mean, I'm here, I'm ready, my ass is in the seat, ready to watch this match no matter what. But it doesn't hurt to sort of have a little bit more going into it rather than just these are two great wrestlers. I think it doesn't hurt as well that maybe what's kind of made it so that now it's more common to have more going into these pay-per-views and big matches is that the actual wrestlers themselves really seem to have a hold on their characters and really understand their characters, and they're very through that understanding they're very good at understanding like subtleties and how much impact that has on the build up and the storytelling and the match. And yeah, I think that's part of it, but also I think backstage I feel like some lessons have been learned, and yeah, I sing the praise of that because I'll always pick up on things that in the past, you know, we criticize, and it's not enjoyable to criticize on something that you love, but we criticize on it because you want it to be better. So when you do see it become better, I think it's definitely worth talking about. So yeah, I mean, Ospreay was adamant on starting the match, and again, this was very subtle, and we weren't mic'd up or anything, but you could tell from the tensions, the body language, and the lip reading, mouth reading, a little bit of Ospreay being like, "No, I'm gonna start," and it was like, "Oh, okay, it's gonna be like that," and he's holding the rope for Hangman. Hangman, I thought, you know, he really kept his cool to the start of the match. You know, I feel like he's definitely been doing some work on himself. Because the Hangman of old, the Hangman of even a few months ago, he would have, you know, lost it at just that. But definitely been working on his emotional regulation skills. Yeah, Takeshita and Ospreay to start, who just made it look absolutely easy. I could watch these two guys go out all day. Takeshita was my number one in this match. I mean, I'm a huge Takeshita fan, as is, so maybe a little bit biased, but I thought he was the glue that held this match together. Not that, I'm not saying anyone else was weak in this match, but I think Takeshi's just fucking brilliant. And again, I'll always sing the praises of Takeshita in every single match that he's in because he just understands the assignment and he just knows. He's just like the perfect buffer. He just knows. He just understands, right? He just fucking gets it. I also wanted to talk about Josh Alexander, though. I wanted to get the feelers out of how are people feeling about him, because I know how people feel about Megan Bayne. I know you guys love Megan Bayne. I don't. I know you guys, some of you guys are feeling a bit on the fence about Kevin Knight, but how are you feeling about Josh Alexander? I haven't heard too much chatter about him. I have some opinions. I think I kind of spoke in the past about how not just Josh Alexander, but also, and I have love for Trent Barreta. I have love for, oh no, not that much love for the Murder Machines, but I have love for people, right? And I do want to see him do well. But it did kind of feel like over the past few weeks with everyone rejoining the Callis family it just felt very convoluted when we'd got onto a place with Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher where it was nice. And I think I just want that. Like, I just want Kyle and Takeshita and maybe some slow burn tensions between them of trying to be the favourite of Don. I think that's interesting and it allows those two to shine in the best light. So yeah, but this match kind of made me feel sorry for Josh Alexander because I kind of feel like it's a double-edged sword, right? Yes, he's with Will Ospreay and Hangman Takeshita. He's with three of the hottest stars right now. So on paper, that should pick him up, right? That should be like, oh fuck, like he should be getting the rub from it. But I don't think it did. I feel like it drowned him out because there was so much aura in that ring that there just wasn't space for Josh Alexander. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword of like, yes, you can book someone strongly, and yes, you can put them in these matches with these high-profile stars, but sometimes people might benefit more from being in the mid-card or being with people that are on the same level or a bit lower than them. Not continuously, of course. I'm not stressing squash match after squash match after squash match, but I just felt like in this he got lost in the shuffle, and he was bound to, and yeah, I just feel like if things don't change in some way, I can't see him acquiring more momentum. I understand why he's in the Callis family. I understand his connections, and I think it's really cool and awesome that he's in AEW, and there's definitely a place for him. There's definitely a place for everyone, really. Like if you're a good booker and a good writer, you can find a place for everyone. But I'm not. I don't know. I just found this match a bit exposing for him. Um, but yeah, then we had Josh Alexander and Ospreay, who was adamant to tag. You know, Will Wills, Ospreay's pride be his hubris. You get what I'm trying to say? You know, in this match as well, I kind of saw more what people were getting at with potentially in this feud, Hangman having more of the babyface shine. Again, I don't think it's ever going to be like heel face, and I was very much an Ospreay apologist last week and a slam, but in this match I could kind of see it a bit more of Ospreay's desperation to cling on to the top. It's like almost clinging on to an iron red hot bar of like, yeah, you're clinging on, but you're going to hurt yourself in the process. You know, is this really good for self-preservation? Because it's great that he has this much determination, and he's got a great huge ego from the crowd and the love that he's received, but he doesn't know when to sort of step out, which was really interesting. And again, these sort of little wrinkles in this match was what made it interesting rather than just a generic can they coexist together, because there was stuff going on with their own characters, which was interesting to see. Yeah, and then we got to see Hangman clearing house, and yeah, as I said, in this instance, you could see more of the face dynamic because the crowd was really hot for that. Even though Ospreay had already cleared house and he'd been doing his great technical wrestling, that setup, it was more natural for the crowd to sort of cheer, as it always is with like a hot tag. But yeah, I could kind of. I mean, they could take it either way, you know. They could take it either way, but it. I got it. I got it. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, yeah, and they had the moments of tension. Ospreay making eye contact while beating on Takeshita was really nice, really assertive. And again, it was the moment of tension came from Hangman's character because you're constantly expecting Hangman to sort of, I don't know what the expression is, blow his top. What's the word? Like blow his lid? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like kick off. You were constantly expecting that. So every kind of move that Ospreay's making that is going to aggravate Hangman, you're sort of watching on like, I don't know about that. Yeah, and then Josh Alexander, bless him, he had a lot of the match in picture, which again, the thing is, this match it is Hangman Ospreay. That's what it is, right? That's the crux of the story. So he was never going to be featured that much. But I'm just, I don't know. I'm just talking about the big picture here. I'm a big picture type of person. And yeah. I don't know. I don't know about this. Hanger and Ospreay working in tandem together had the Oriwara moonsault and the Sky Twisted Press. Lovely stuff. And then the ending was very, very good. We had Hangman tagging himself in, interrupting the Hidden Blade. He then instructed Ospreay to get rid of Takeshita, misses the buckshot, and things start to break down. Then we had, turning the page. Then we had almost a Hidden Blade to Hangman, so again, nearly coming to blows. Who's pulled out by Takeshita, and then they kind of regain control, and they both decide to do the finisher on Alexander. We had the buckshot Hidden Blade for the win, which was so fun. Really cool that you could do those two moves together, and then we had this amazing shot of them both looking at each other in exasperation, and then we had Which just this part just made me laugh out loud when Takeshita came in from behind with the big knee, and then we had to beat down on Ospreay because number one ops of Ospreay, the Don Callis family. Never gonna let that go. Hanger gets up and Ospreay strikes him. He's in his blind spot and he believes it's Josh Alexander. And yeah, tensions are just super high, super high. It's very easy to do that kind of match and kind of just like have them both look at each other and like nod. I'll be seeing you. That's kind of the common sort of string, I suppose, that comes out of these types of matches. It's the textbook. So yeah, the ending was really cool and being able to curate that tension from them being in a match, and it wasn't cheap. It wasn't when he finally did land the blow on him and it was accidental, but from that point there've been so many points of near blows. It was very, very, very effective, and in terms of technicality, a very good match. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, super looking forward to that match. And yeah, I mean, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Ooh, I feel like the bets are kind of on Hangman because with Swerve circling the title scene, and it's been theorized for a long time that Swerve will pick his title back up. Hangman will win the Owen and beat Swerve. But I don't know. Might not be. Then we had the hype package for the main event. If you weren't already hyped, I think we were all sufficiently hyped by just the mention of Joe and Mox in a cage beating the shit out of each other. But yeah, don't hurt, does it? Don't hurt. Then we had Alicia with Top Flight and Dante. He was popping off. He just needed to just chill. I always wonder how wrestlers do that. Like, I know it's like part of it, like cutting a promo, but I could understand getting all riled up if you're in a segment with someone and like you're in character and they're sort of poking at you and you're able to get into character, or it's post match and you're flustered, but to just cut a promo and just be screaming, like, how do you do that? I don't know. But yeah, he was popping off. They still want the titles and they're pissed about MJF, which, yeah, valid. I mean, at least they don't. The match happened, so I was going to say at least they didn't look like total chumps, but then the match happened and they were cleared out. But I guess there was some kind of retribution for them. They weren't totally jobbed out last week, which is good, I guess. Then we had Dustin and Sammy Guevara jump scare. Holy shit, should have had like a trigger warning for that, with the wise words that they'll be watching. And oh my god, Sammy Guevara, he didn't open his mouth. That might have tipped me over the edge, but seeing Sammy Guevara on my AEW Dynamite screen, that doesn't even make any sense. You know what I mean? Seeing him on AEW Dynamite is it's a weird one. The match of Ricochet versus Zach Gowen, which was set up on Collision, which was a really wild segment. It was definitely shocking, definitely pushed the boundaries a bit. But yeah, this was a really, really cool match. I haven't really seen Zach Gowen before, wasn't that familiar with him. All I knew was that he'd kind of been on the independent circuit a bit. Like, going into this match, I feel like you might not have known that this disability that he has with his prosthetic leg, he's had it since he was like 8 years old. And he'd wrestled with the prosthetic leg, of course, throughout his whole like wrestling career. So he's done like WWE in the early 2000s, TNA, and then like, the independent circuit. So yeah, because I mean, like, going into this, like, I didn't really know if sort of his prosthetic leg was something that was of recent, or like, yeah, I didn't realize he'd had this like whole stint, like that was his career, that he'd been wrestling wrestling with that. So this was new. This was new for me, new territory. And yeah, I thought it was amazing. Like I was just in awe the whole time. I thought the match was done very well, very tastefully, and yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, obviously it's not something that you see every day, and it's just really inspiring that to see him wrestle at such a high caliber. And I mean, like, just the stuff he was doing, like I believe it was the the moonsault. Yeah, the the control and the balance that you would have to have, like being on the top rope, having one leg without like the prosthetic, like to sort of balance that out. It's crazy. Like the body control and the strength and the balance you'd have to have to make up for that is insane. So wow, yeah, it was so good. Like his whole what's the word, like spirit, watching him kick out repeatedly, and yeah, it was a really fun matchup against Ricochet because what better of an opponent to have? You know, you've got this feel good wrestler who's going against the odds. He's such a rootable underdog, and then you've got Ricochet, who's just total twat, who literally fucking came out uh, with the prosthetic leg, and then Zach Gowen had to come out on crutches. I mean, like, can you get any more dastardly and any more of a fucking dickhead? But yeah, as I say, he was repeatedly kicking out after he'd been able to get his shit in at the start of the match, with Ricochet taking the scissors out, and the cool bit of Zach grabbing the prosthetic and taking him out while the ref's back was turned. It was fun. It was really, really fun. And as I said, the moonsault that he missed, and because of that, Ricochet was able to land the spirit gun for the win. And post match, he kept, I think he delivered 2 spirit guns, right? He definitely delivered 1 before Matt Briscoe came down to chase off Ricochet. I was like, Mark Briscoe, I appreciate it, but where were you on Collision on Saturday, Matt Briscoe? Like, it was. But I mean, I guess like better late than never, right? It always makes me laugh when people make the save, but loads of shit's gone on before that. I'm like, so that was the breaking point. Like, oh, it's okay for him to get like 1 spirit gun or 2, but 3 spirit, that's crossing the line. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I didn't really know what to expect going into it from the perspective of it was just like booked on Saturday. So it was like, okay. As I say, not super familiar with that, but I really, really enjoyed this. So again, like I was enjoying this card. I was like, feel good. And then we had MJF coming out with Renee, and I'd say the Hurt Syndicate stuff and the main event for me was probably the biggest draw for this card. That's what I was looking forward to the most. So I was very intrigued to see how this segment was going to go down, and they definitely played into that. So MJF was talking about how he wants the title back, the landscape shifted, he doesn't like variables, he doesn't like working hard, and he wants to help level the playing field by having the Hurt Syndicate on his side, which I think was nice, sort of re-establishing his goals clearly, because obviously it can kind of get a bit lost when we're pimping out women and cars, and it's all just getting a bit like, what is the point of this? But yeah, you know, this is the point. Like, I actually want these guys on side to win my titles, and da 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 da. And Renee's like, oh, that's great, but what do you think about if they say no? And he's then tapped by MVP, and Bobby and Shelton come into frame, who says after their match, it's imperative they join, that MJF joins the Hurt Syndicate in the ring. And Bobby's like grinning at him, going, this will be fun. So it's very much looking like a no, very antagonistic, and they were shitting MJF up at that point. You know, he knew he fucked up. But yeah, definitely continue to draw out and build the intrigue. Then we had the match, Top Flight against Hurt Syndicate. Yeah, Top Flight, they got their shit in for the first 2 minutes, but that was quickly overturned and they were manhandled brutally. And a really aggressive hurt lock was put on Dante to close out the match, which he held post-match. Dustin Rhodes comes out and he's like, let him go, you know. Not somebody with the I love Sammy sign as well, like. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. That should be a thing, like, we should have stakes for our predictions. And if you lose so many predictions, you have to hold an I love Sammy sign. At fucking Forbidden Door. I'm trying to think who else we really don't like. My mind's kind of like me and Lucy both don't like. But I can't think. But yeah, that would be very funny. Yeah, anyway, totally sidetracked. MVP's like, I've got respect for you, Dustin, got respect for your dad, so, we're not going to come out and level you, we're not going to come out and beat the shit out of you, but get to the point, old man. Dustin's like, well, it's obvious what we want, innit? Like, we've got the ROH titles, we want the real thing. Then Leah and Action Andretti come out, and they want a title shot too. Dustin's like, I'm going to teach you to respect your elders. And MVP's like, I don't give a fuck about all this. Go fight on Collision. Which he was so real for that. Like, real. So hopefully, Leo, Rush, and Action Andretti win that. Because that means minimal Sammy TV time. Oh dear. Oh dear. Then we had MJF's music playing. We're ready for the answer. I believe there was like a break as well in between this. So again, proper dragging it out. It's like back in the day when X Factor results were about to like come on. And you'd be like waiting for ages, but yeah. Anyway, MJF, he's not coming out though, so they ask Shelton to find him, and this is so funny. He's hiding behind Jerry Lynn with Tony Khan, which was great. Yeah, he gets into the ring, and MVP continues to be very cryptic. We know what's coming his way. Bobby's got his arm around MJF. It's not looking good. Shelton, quick thumbs up. MVP, quick thumbs up. Bobby, he's like, oh, and then eventually it's a thumbs up. But it was a bit weird because Shelton looked like he was going to drop him. So I don't know if that's meant to be picked up on. I don't think they needed. If it wasn't meant to be picked up on, I don't think they should have done it because it's just kind of adding confusion that didn't need to be there. But was it meant to be that Bobby changed his mind last minute and Shelton was ready to drop him, but Bobby was like, oh, actually, I want MJF? Is it part of them taking the piss out of MJF? Because that's part of the reason MVP was trying to convince him to let MVP was trying to let MJF, fucking these names, be part of the Hurt Syndicate so that they could sort of rib on him. Or is it just nondescript? It was just there for a moment of tension. I don't know. But anyway, it was so funny. He like jumps into the arms of Bobby, like pushes him off, and then he's cracking up as he's going around the ring going, we hurt people. We hurt people. It was just, it popped me. There's going to be a contract signing next week, which is like, okay, why? Like, we already know he's going to be part of it. So why? I know they couldn't have probably done it on this because Beach Break was packed. But why not on another show? Would you not just combine this segment with the contract signing? Because I've been defending this. Like, people are like, oh, it's dragged out. I'm like, yeah, but it's fun. But at this point, it's like, do we really need to drag it out for the contract signing? So unless there's some tea going to be spilled at the contract signing, unless some people are going to show up, a la Cedric Alexander, unless something's going to happen significant, which I'm hoping and I imagine will be the case, it's a bit like, why? But sure, okay, contract sign next week. I will be there irregardless. Not in person, but reviewing and watching. Then we had the 4-way women's eliminator match with Toni Storm returning Sky Blue to her hometown, Azumi. and Mina Shirakawa, which was so great to see Mina. Mina was my MVP in this match for sure. I thought she was fucking awesome. That moment when I haven't got it to hand, I didn't write down, but she sort of had Tony in, maybe it was the figure of four. It was like before the figure of four. That's like maybe a sharpshooter or something. I can't remember. And then Azumi came at her and she sort of did like a DDT. I can't remember. It was something like that. It was very fucking cool. But she was just, they were all awesome, right? They were all awesome. But Mina really, like, she really stood out to me in this match. And it was such an exciting mix of women, you know. Azumi and Mina. I assume Mina's going to be a bit more of like recurring, uh, she has signed to AEW, right? And she kind of had like a bit of a hiatus. She wasn't here. Now I'm assuming she's here for good. But yeah, I mean, we haven't, as in we've seen like on Collision, like it's cool to see them guys, and Sky obviously is returning. So it was really cool to see this mix of women made the women's division. Sorry, I'm trying to find the words. Feel very fresh. And especially for Tony, because Tony was locked up in that awesome feud with Mariah for many, many months. But it's still really cool to me and novel to me seeing her interact with all these new women, because now that feud is over. Yeah. We had Azumi and Mina getting into it. Obviously, Shirakawa being pinned at Resurgence, and they had the build up to that match with the match that they had to decide who was going to be number one contender that ended in a draw at Windy City Riot. I don't know why that name just does not stick for me, but yeah, that was cool to see. It was kind of like a tornado of matchups. There's some fun like tandem in stereo kind of wrestling as well. It wasn't just one in, one out. They really put it together, which I mean, I don't know how long Azumi had kind of been there, because she's not a regular, so I was impressed with how structured it was and how much they'd sort of put into it to say. I mean, I would imagine they wouldn't have had loads of time to put this together, would be my assumption. And the Joshi's as well, they really took the speed up, which was fun to see. They definitely took it up a gear. And I'm not saying that Tony and Sky Blue can't wrestle to that level, because they're fucking fantastic wrestlers by themselves, but it's kind of like bringing them to that edge, and they met them at that edge, which was really fun. And definitely why I love seeing the Japanese talent on AEW television, because I think they really push the women who are kind of doing the more traditional American wrestling style. They push it and they elevate it. And yeah, I really like it. And I wrote love Mina, which I'll reiterate, I love Mina. And you couldn't ask for more. You really couldn't. I mean, what more could you want in this match? They really did deliver, and the ending was very exciting. We had the big package on Mina, who rolls over Tony, just happens to do it, and that picked up the victory, which was crazy. So yeah, for Double or Nothing, they will be going ahead, which is a really awesome match. And I was thinking, if Mariah re-signs with the company, do you think she'll come to support Mina? Do you think she'll come out post-match? I don't know. What do we think? Do we think Mariah's staying? Do we think she's leaving? I couldn't be mad either way, as I've said before. I mean, I absolutely love her. She's my favourite active female wrestler at the moment. She's got so much talent. I do think it would be better for her, in my personal opinion, staying in AEW, because she's built up so much clout. And if I was her, I'd do another run in AEW, continue to build upon my brand, and then go to WWE, because I know that's like, I don't know if that's a dream match. I can't say that, but I feel like it's speculated on because of how big of a WWE fan she is. You would assume that might be something she wants to do in the future. But yeah, I mean, she recently posted on Instagram with Nick Wayne, so I think that was kind of like a soft launch. So I'm just hoping selfishly that Nick Wayne's enough for her to want to stay, and we can like keep her here. But either way, man, it's like she's gonna smash whatever she does. But yeah, just a little fan theory there that maybe she'll come back into the mix with Mina. being back. Then we had Mercedes coming out as Izumi was making her exit, and she put the statement maker on her because she lost her title uh, via proxy of Mina Shirakawa. So, not happy about that. And then we had Jamie Hayter coming down and putting a lock of her own on Mercedes, lining her up for the Haterade, but there was a pull apart from the security, which this feud's fucking awesome. And again, like I say, on paper, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great wrestling match. But in the short space that they've had for this, and with the Hangman and Ospreay stuff, I am very, very, very impressed. And I'm very impressed at these interactions post matches that they've been putting in. Everything feels hyper realistic to what the characters would actually do. And it just left this show feeling really exciting. And you didn't know who was coming, who was going. And it added a lot to the aura of the show. Now, the next thing I want to get into is the tribute to, of course, Sabu sadly passed away recently, and they did a great tribute. Excalibur had some words to say, and they had the, what would you call it, sort of like the montage pictures, and Taz being able to talk about Sabu, who he had a long history with. They've been go way back, and I mean, it choked me up, like seeing him speak with such emotion and love for his friend was really, really touching. And I really wanted to talk about this because I felt some type of way about the way that people online have been handling his passing, because Joey Janela, so I want to keep this really brief because you'll see when I make my point, but Joey Janela put out like a story of Sabu being concussed and hearing Sandman's music and carrying on the match, and a lot of people really got into that and sort of onto the bashing of GCW and their practices, and I'm trying to think of the right words. Yeah, sort of the health and safety of their practices, and why had no one intervened, and why was this being sensationalized. The thing is, right, I feel like a lot of people really sensationalized this story, and they jumped on it, and they just got so excited to sort of talk about it and rip on GCW. And it's like, at the end of the day, someone has recently died. Like, he literally had only just died, and people online were already just sort of joining this circle jerk echo chamber. And the thing is, I'm not saying that GCW doesn't deserve to be called out. I'm not saying that there is not a valid conversation there, but he'd literally just died. And rather than focusing on his legacy or everything that he'd done for the business and for his friends and I've never had any interaction with Sabu. I've never watched him wrestle live, but a lot of things I'd seen online of just fans that had had such positive experiences with him, his co-workers, fellow wrestlers, and I just feel like it really made me feel icky, because it felt like people were just jumping on this man's death for like quick clout, a quick headline, sensationalizing it, and the issue with it was the intention. What is your intention in talking about that? Do you genuinely care about the health and safety and the well-being of these wrestlers and what had gone on at GCW? Or are you just talking to kind of be involved in the conversation and, oh, it's gossip? That's what it felt like to me from a lot of people, and it just really left a bad taste in my mouth. And watching Taz and the way he so articulately was able to put forward his feelings and memories of Sabu, and it was really touching. I hope those people that watched that, hopefully it made you reconsider. I don't know how to put it into words because it's quite nuanced, and I never want to be misconstrued, and I feel like with wrestling fans you can quite often get misconstrued because they don't hear the full sentence, they just hear the first three words and they're like, oh well, why can't we talk about this? I'm not saying that. I just feel like it's like a time and a place. And it just really was like food for thought for me, because we talk about things on here, we report things on here. I'm just sat in my bedroom right now and it's a very relaxed environment. Normally Lucy's here, so I'm with like my best friend just chatting shit, and there's a lot of silly, stupid stuff in wrestling, right? People tweeting, people get into all kinds of drama. But this to me, it's the way it was handled. It isn't drama, and I guess it's just a good reminder to myself and other people to just, maybe we should just be careful when we're like talking about sensitive things, because that to me just gave me the ick. It just shouldn't be like clickbait. It shouldn't be this sensationalized thing. I just feel like it should be handled with care. That's just where I'm at. And it's something that I think about a lot. Like, again, this is just a big picture now of talking about things, and we're such a small channel, so again it's very easy to just think, well, no one's going to really listen to this. And it's difficult because like I want this to be a channel where like we can joke about things, like the Sammy Guevara thing. It's just jokes, it's not real. Like, I want to be able to joke and have a laugh and be like entertaining and stuff, but I don't know. It's just kind of been, I guess, food for thought for me. But yeah, Sabu, absolute legend. As I was mentioning earlier, I love the nostalgia of watching wrestling in the summer, so I'll definitely be putting on some old ECW matches and having a beer or a glass of wine or two, and remembering him and all that he has done for this business. So yeah, moving on, we had MJF with MVP and Renee, he was chuffed to bits. I mean, he's part of the Hurt Syndicate, and he says he's going to have his lawyer, again with the legal advice, Mark Sterling, go over the contract. And MVP gives a bit of a side eye to this, but then Max kind of talks him down. He's like, well, wouldn't you have a lawyer? And he's like, well, yeah. But it kind of made you feel like, well, what's in the contract? Like, is there something underhand? Because why would you not want a lawyer to look at it? But I suppose all will be revealed next week. Then we had Nigel McGuinness with Tony. You know how I feel about this, but at least by the end of this, I could see where it was going, and it's not so much commentator feuding with a wrestler, because Nigel potentially might be stepping back into the ring. So wrestler versus wrestler. Because, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the beefing with Tony Schiavone, beefing with the commentary team, because I'm like, what is the gain here? What is it? Tony Schiavone's not going to get in the ring and put on a 5-star bloody match, is he? So, yeah. But yeah. Is it Tony Schiavone now just saying I should apologise, shouldn't have gotten into the ring, I'm sorry for Daniel Garcia, and Daniel's like, you can keep your apology, you are supposed to stand up for yourself. And at this point I still wasn't getting it. I was like, why is a single guy feuding with a tag team, as in Daniel Garcia? Like, that doesn't make much sense at all. But obviously then Garcia was asking Nigel to fight by his side, and Stokely comes down and he's like, two burnouts glazing each other, who is the biggest disappointment. He says their punishment should be them getting in an official match season agreement. He's like, hell yeah, get into the ring with FTR. They can't be sanctioned, they can't be fined. Like, that's what they want. They want to beat down on you. So your wish is my command. Nigel's like, they're going to kill us. And Daniel Garcia's like, yeah, they will, but we are underdogs. It's just like made me laugh because he just agreed. He was like, yeah, they probably will. Berkeley's like, oh, do you think you can beat FTR? You barely beat Hepatitis. So then there was a mic drop from Nigel, and he was about to square up. Because obviously that hit a nerve. and FTR come from behind after Stokely being like, oh, well, they're not here tonight, so I'm speaking for him. And there's a bit of a beat down, but then Daddy Magic comes out with a crowbar. Um, so yeah. So I don't know why I sound so like unimpressed at that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think it's cool to see Nigel go in the ring again if that's what he wants to do. I really enjoyed what he did all in, and I know how he talked about like, it's Tony Khan's choice, but yeah, I'd be open to and happy to get back into the ring. And yeah, I think it would be a fun matchup. Yeah, I'm not like massively like excited, but I guess that's just because, as me and Luke said before, this iteration of FTR with Stokely, it's it's not at full heat. I don't. It's not a freezing cold act, but it's lukewarm for me. And Daniel Garcia, I feel like Daniel Garcia just he never gets ahead. And is this going to benefit Daniel Garcia? No, because as I said, he is a singles guy. So yeah, even if he's wrestling with Nigel, which will be cool, it's not furthering his career. I'm not down on it though. I'm not down on it. It's just I can't be like, oh yeah, mate, this is setting my world on fire. Fuck me. Like, can't wait for Daddy Magic on the outside with the crowbar against Stokely Hathaway. Woo! Like, I don't know. I prefer to see people doing stuff in their lane, like FTR going for the tag team titles and being a really serious tag team. But I guess maybe that's their thing at the minute because they're heels and they're not. They're kind of gone back on what they were, but I'd just rather see them do that, and I'd rather see Danny be in a meaningful singles feud and get pushed up the card a little bit, but it's fine. Then we had the main event with a very holy cage. I didn't know whether it was gimmicked for the match, like people were going to pass things through the holes. I mean, they did, but it was through the sort of crack of where the cage met, which made me think, is this just bashed up from people wrestling inside of it? And then that got me thinking, what is the lifespan of a wrestling cage? Because obviously a chair or a ladder, just by the end of a match, it's fucked up, innit? It's all bent out of shape, so you can't really use it. But a cage, what's the lifespan on the cage? Like, has that cage been used for years in previous wrestling matches? Did they get a new cage every time there's a match? Because that cage looked fucked up. So yeah, if anyone has any knowledge, we need to interview like a wrestling props master. We've talked about doing like interviews because we know of people, especially Lucy knows of a lot of people that would be interesting to interview. And I'd love to interview people like, of course, it'd be cool to interview wrestlers, but I'd love to interview like promoters, videographers, like yeah, people who are kind of in the props department, because stuff like these are the real questions. Like these are the questions that I haven't really heard the answers to. So yeah. Anyways, this was a really fun match. No gimmicks. Off to the races. Pretty back and forward between the two of them. Although there's like the interference and with the briefcase, there was no like in a cage match. Normally, you've got like props. You've got chairs, tables. You have all these. You have from the cage is used as a weapon, people jumping off the cage, but it was more the cage being used in its simplest fucking form of these two guys are trapped with each other and they're just going to beat the shit out of each other. And I think with Moxley's wrestling and in the main event, sometimes it doesn't really work because it's quite slow burn until the gimmick of the match hits, which is usually the end, which is like a running or a beat down. So a lot of people don't really enjoy them. But I think he worked really well with Moxley, and that slow burn, simplistic, bloody style was perfect for the cage, and it came together wonderfully. That simplicity really worked in their favour in this match, I thought. We had the Death Riders coming out, circling the cage, and Willow and Hobbs come down to even the odds. Mox is busted open. A fucking course he is. The Kahina clutch is put on a very bloodied Mox. I couldn't believe it when he was stood there up there and he just got on the colour, and So Joe's just landing these forearms, and I'm thinking, fuck me, like, how are you still standing? Like, you losing that so much blood. I know Mox is a tough son of a bitch, so that's why. But like, can you imagine losing that much blood? How dizzy you'd feel, and then someone's just like, you know, hitting you on the side of the head. I mean, wow, wow. And I heard the impact of those blows. That they did not sound pretty. Yeah, random thought as well. I really miss JR in this. Like, just something about a cage match, man. I feel like JR would have added spice. They're in Chicago though. They weren't like he would have had to fly out for it, but I just would have liked to have heard good old Jim Ross on the comms for this. Yeah, no gimmicks, just a fight to the death. And we had uh, the first kick in clutch where Mox was able to get a rope break, and in the instance of the chokehold on Joe, he didn't pass out. He was able to lift his arm, so that was pretty cool how they were able to combat each other's submission holds. And you're thinking, well, what's going to happen? Because it's been building up to the key clutch. So you're thinking, oh, okay, he's going to have to maybe put it in again, and then he'll get him down for good. But again, it seemed like all the Death Riders are leveled out on the outside. So how is this match going to end? Um, yeah, we had the King of Clutch in again. Maybe this one was the rope break actually. Um, maybe not. Anyway, the Death Riders, yeah. Claudio, he starts to no. The first one was the one with the rope break, I believe, because this is when Claudio tries to climb the cage to free Mox. And then Willow just comes, and Shafia's kind of in front of her, so she kind of takes out Shafia and then just grabs Claudio, who just is like dead weight onto both of them. It was very entertaining. I was thinking as well, because obviously they're going to do an Anarchy match, but Blood and Guts is coming up, and I want the one-on-one Marina, Shafia, and Willow match. God, we've been saying that verbatim for what feels like fucking years now. My point being that I'd love to see some kind of intergender stuff. I mean, how cool would it be if they had maybe a bit further down the line Blood and Guts, and why can't they have Marina and Willow in there? That'd be so fucking cool. Because like we've seen Willow and Marina kind of have a few spots with the lads as well, so that would be really cool. Um, yeah, then we kind of had uh Yuta, well, not kind of, he was definitely leveled out because Hobbs put him in a choke slam through the chairs, which was really cool. But then a hooded figure appears, and the briefcase is pushed through the gap of the cages, which was then revealed to be Gabe Kidd, and Mox was able to pick up the victory. So this was absolutely. I don't know if you heard that. That's my cat meowing. He's ready for a scrap. He's ready for a 5-star classic. Right, anyway, distractions. Where was I? Yeah, Gabe Kidd, fuck, the most important part of the match, and I'm being distracted by Gabe Kidd. Jesus Christ, like, lock in. This was so cool, right? I was totally taken aback by this. Like, I was not expecting at all. I mean, he's had a few stints in AEW, had a few appearances, hasn't he? But yeah, still really cool. And yeah, I mean, he's just filling in, Pac's not about, and he's with New Japan, but damn, like he really fits in, doesn't he, with the Death Riders. And it really, even though this match then went into the post-match beatdown, and it's kind of a bit old and a bit, it was cool. I feel like Gabe Kidd in there really kind of just helped inject a bit of rejuvenation into the Death Rider act, and just made it so that them winning and squashing everyone was kind of like interesting again. Um, yeah, yeah, I really, really liked this, and I mean, it makes sense, but it was still very unexpected and not even in the equip. Let's say you knew it had to end somewhere, and you knew something had to be at play, but I wouldn't have been able to have predicted this. in his little fucking Toon Army hoodie. Toon Army, what's that all about? Then he had the low blow to Hobbs and Claudio. He's then getting his beat down on him. Willow thrown into the barricade, how dastardly. And then the Bucks come down to shake Mox's hands. I saw some people speculating that, because obviously the card at Resurgence, which was really fucking great, really great matches there. But perhaps, when the Death Riders went to visit the locker, not the locker room, I keep saying that, the dressing room of the Bucks, but they'd kind of created some kind of deal there, and that's why the Gabe Kidd interference came into play. So yeah, they're about to shake Mox's hand, but then Kenny comes down. It was so fucking cool. His theme song was still playing, and he's like taking out like Claudio, and I can't even remember who was still bodies everywhere. But then Okada, it comes out with the punch to the abdomen, and for a while we've been theorizing that we're going to get this at Forbidden Door, but because we're seeing this quite what's the word, like, showcased quite frequently, I'm thinking this is going to happen before Forbidden Door. I'm thinking All In or something like that. I mean, maybe even sooner, because I don't see how they could keep this going to Forbidden Door. And I would love to see Okada versus Kenny at Forbidden Door. It would be an absolute treat, but I wouldn't be mad if we get something different, because no matter what matchup we get, it's going to be great. I mean, I didn't get to see Kenny wrestle last year because obviously he wasn't at All In, so it'll be really, really cool to just see him in general. I mean, I'd see him fight a stick on the ground. I'd see him fight when he fought a freaking 8-year-old girl, a blow-up sex doll, whatever. I don't care. Just want to see that man in the ring, to but yeah, I'm kind of feeling like we're going to get that sooner than Forbidden Door, guys. I really am. And then Matt Jackson, he's got the cage coming back down. He's got a very cartoon, again, with the prop design. It was really capturing my attention. Like that was crazy. Like that controller for the cage, that was crazy looking. And then randomly, it was like the tiniest shot of Speedball brawling with Okada out of the arena. Hell yeah. Yeah, and then Samoa Joe and Kenny are fed to the Sharks. The cage is down, they're getting beaten up on, there's no escape. And then Swerve comes down, and the Who's house. That was terrible, that, but to me, that really does have the same level of infamy now as the Steve Austin glass break. Fuck me, like when that hits, like the crowd, it's almost like knee-jerk Pavlovian dog reaction of Swerve's house, like, or just with Steve Austin, the glass and the pop. Really, it's like locked into our psyche that. But yeah, he climbs the cage, and we get the high dive spot. Matt Jackson frantically with his hokey cartoon evil Dr. Evil remote smashing the button. And yeah, Swerve cuts a promo, he fears nothing. And he mentions Anarchy at the arena at Double or Nothing, which is a super, 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 super exciting match. And hell yeah. Do you know what? Hell yeah. And that concluded a thoroughly enjoyable episode of Dynamite Beach Break. Wow. Loved it. I mean, going through it, I don't think there was anything that I didn't like. I enjoyed every match. I enjoyed every outcome. I feel like they used this special very effectively to build to Double or Nothing. It was it was just very well structured, well planned, well done, and it was a wild ride. So I don't know, because originally I was thinking like a 9, but now I've like talked out a bit. I'm kind of thinking 9.5, but that just feels ridiculously high. I'm always so adamant to like give high, because the rating system, guys, has meaning. We're not Meltzer over here. We're not giving 11 out of 10, 12 out of 10. We're never doing that. I will always have integrity for the 10 out of 10 system. The 10's never been given out. Okay, the 10, it's... How has it been given out? Maybe I'm chatting shit. Maybe we gave it out to the first All In. I feel like we did. But you know, like, it's got a very high, like, a pedestal to hit. It's got a high bar to hit. So, but yeah, like going through this is the type of dynamite, right? Where years on years to come, right, and you're feeling a bit nostalgic, as I'm talking about hot weather. You know, you have a little drink on the evening. You want some fun graps to watch at night. This is the type of shit that you would watch. This is the type of shit because it has a lot of big stars featured. It's like when you go back and you watch SummerSlam 2002, right? And you read that card and you're like, fuck, like that card was stacked. That's like this. All the big stars, everyone. You know, in years to come, you watch this back and you're like, fuck, man, we didn't know how good we had it. So, do you know what? 9.5. And I feel like last year's Beach Break we gave really high as well. I feel like Beach Break always delivers. 9.5 feels really high though. But like, everything was so fun. Everything was good. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. 9.5. So yeah, using our rating system. Or you can use any rating system, I suppose. You could have it out of 100. Out of 5. You could have 0.5s, whatever the hell you want. What would you rate the show? Did you enjoy it? I'd be very surprised if someone said that they didn't. Lots of talking points, anything that you want to sound off on the comments. And yeah, obviously we've got another Dynamite, and then the week after we have got Double or Nothing. Shit. So be the go home show next week. So we'll do the predictions for that, and there will be a review for Double or Nothing. It might just be me again. Might be a bit later on than I'd hope for, because I don't know whether I'm going to be able to capture it all live because I'm off to Slam Dunk that weekend. But there will be a review. There will be reviews. There'll be reviews. Oh, I hate wrapping up, but yeah, that's it. That's it. Join us next week. Give a like. Give a 5-star rating on Spotify if you could, if you haven't already. It's very, very, very helpful, very constructive to the growth of the podcast. And yes, thank you very much for listening, and take care.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bad.
I wish you died in the womb!